Okay, welcome once again to another wonderful segment of PJ Collection Clothing online class. In this video, I'll be showing us how to make a polo t-shirt with a collar. Now, this is an example of what I'll be showing us. I got this polo t-shirt from the boutique. Now, it has a placket. As you can see, it has a placket, and it also carries a collar, as you can see. Then the sleeve too, it has band. So I'll be showing us how to replicate this. Alright, now this is the collar that I'll be working with. This is the collar. So just go to those persons that sell polo materials and tell them you want to buy collar band. It comes in different sizes. Now, the size I have here that I'll be working with is 16. I'll be working with 16. This is the size I'll be working with, 16 inches. While the width is 4.5 inches. This is a collar band. So when you get to the market, you tell them you want to get this. Then I'll also be using this sticker here as a design for the polo t-shirt. Alright, and if you want to use this as well. Alright, so that aside, now these are the measurements I'll be working with. The chest is 42, the sleeve is 10, the round sleeve 15, the neck 16, the top length 32. You know your polo t-shirts are not that long, so you can use 30, 31, 32. Then the shoulder is 20 and the armhole is 20. Unlike your regular senator, remember it is not a fitted outfit. Alright, so I'll be working with this. Now the fabric I'm working with, I'm using crepe. You can get crepe from the market, or you tell them you want to buy polo t-shirt fabrics. So I'll be working with this material. Now, unlike your senator cotton, the back and the front will be equal. Take note, the back and the front will be equal. Now, the first thing we do is to fold the fabric into two. We'll fold the fabric into two. Okay, so you fold your fabric into two. Now, this is the fabric I folded into two. Now, how do you know that your folding is okay? Divide your chest by 4. Take note, your chest by 4. Now, the actual chest of this person is 40. Because we're doing for a polo t-shirt, I'm using 42. So, this 42 divided by 4 gives me 10.5. But my folding here, I'm using 13. 13, I'm okay with the folding. Now, from this point, we are marking the top length here, the polo t-shirt length. The polo t-shirt length is 32, so we're marking 32 here. Then I'll be adding just 1 inch for our folding. Take note, 1 inch for our folding. Now over to the neck. So starting from this point, so remember the width of this folding is 13 and the length is 33. Now if you do your neck division, the neck of this person is 16. 16 divided by 6 gives me 3. If you take a look at the radius of your neck, so I'll be marking 3 here. Take note, if you check the radius of your neck, 16 divided by 3, so that is 3. Then the depth here, I'll be marking 5. Take note, the depth here, I'll be marking 5. Now, because I'll use ½ inch to sew the back and the front, ½ inch to sew the back, I'll remove that ½ inch, so I'll be marking 5.5. Take note, for neck of 16, the width here is 3. Then the depth here, removing ½ inch, that is okay, let's take it again. We said 5, right? 5. So removing ½ inch here, that is 4.5. Alright, we are correct. 4.5. Alright, so we'll now make our circle here. Make a nice curve. For neck of, this is for neck 16. 3 inch wide, then the depth is 4.5. Okay, so we now have this. Now our shoulder slant, the shoulder slant from this point, I'm using 2 inches. The shoulder slant is 2 inches. Take note, the shoulder slant is 2 inches. Now our shoulder measurement from here is 20. So from this point, we are marking I'm using just 10 1/4 inch. Take note, 10 1/4 inch. 10 1/4 inch. So I'll connect this point here, from here to this point. This point to this point here. Alright. Now the next thing we'll be focusing on is the armhole. Now from here, where the shoulder stops, we're just doing the regular normal senator method of cutting. From here, the armhole, you divide your armhole by 2 or your shoulder by 2. Now the shoulder of this person is 20, the armhole 20, so dividing it by 2 gives you 10. But I will not use this 10, I'll remove 1 inch. We don't want the armhole to be too big, so I'll use 9 inch. So I'll mark at 9 here. Now at this point, this is your chest measurement, which is 13. So we now use your armhole to connect from this point to this point. Take note, you connect from this point to this point here using your armhole. Alright, so we now have this. So we now do the cutting now. Okay, so now let's place the back. We are placing the back. Remember, we said both the back and the front are equal. When cutting your senator, we normally drag the front down by 3 inches, but this, the back and the front are equal. Alright, so we quickly cut this. Take note, this is the neck. We are cutting this. The both armhole are equal as well, so we're also cutting this, the armhole. Okay, then we now cut this down. Take note, both the back and the front are equal in cutting your polo t-shirt. Alright, now let's focus on the neck point here. Now for the neck, remember this back and front, so we cut just the front alone. We're cutting the front alone. Take note, the front alone, 4.5 inch deep, 3 inch wide. Take note, from here to here 3 inches, then from here to here 4.5. Then to cut the back, the depth of the back is just 0.5 or 0.75. Take note, for the back 0.75 by 3 inches. Take note, as you can see, this is 0.75, that is 3/4 inch. Then the same width, 3 inch. So I'll cut from here. Take notes. Alright, so this works for collar neck and also for round neck. Now finally, now for the front, take note, we'll make the front deeper than the back. Take note, we are making this front, the front alone, deeper than the back with at least 0.5 inches. The front alone. So as you can see, we now have this. So the next thing I'll be showing us is how to fix the placket. As I've showed us already, I'll be showing us how to fix this placket and also how to go about fixing the collar for your polo t-shirt. Alright, okay, so we are through with our cutting. Now we want to start the placket, how to fix the placket. Now you get your black fabric, either the main fabric or another fabric that you want to use, depending on the color. Now the width of the fabric here is 4 inches, then the length here is 9 inches. Take note, the width 4 and the length 9. Then you fold this into 2 neatly, as you can see. Then at the back side, the wrong side, you gum with your softest paper gum, the one that looks like tissue paper gum. That is the one you use, the hair stay, called hair stay. Here I use the net gum. I use the very lightest net gum for this. So take note, 4 inch by 9. Then over to our polo t-shirt. Now you get the center here. As you can see, this is the center. I have to mark with a pen. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Sorry, chalk. I'm using chalk to mark the center here, so you know that this is the center of the fabric. Now away from this edge, you move in 0.2, as you can see, 0.2. Now place this 0.2, you place this as shown. Take note, away from your 0.2, you pin this down So you have to pin this down, then also place this. We are doing this just the same way you fix your welt pocket for trousers. If you know how to fix your welt pocket for trousers, so you pin this, as you can see, you pin this down. Then we now sew from, after pinning this down, we now sew from here to this point. The depth of the sew we are using 5 inch. Take note, from this line that we've drawn already here. So we sew from here down, we stop here 5 inch. Then you also sew from here down, you stop at 5 inch. Take note that both sides should be equal, just the same way we do for your welt pocket for trousers. Okay, so I'm sewing that line, we're sewing down, down. Remember, we're stopping at 5 inch. If you want to go below above 5 inch, you're safe. So we're stopping there. So this is where we are stopping. Alright, so now sew the second line. Now sewing this second line down. Just the same way you do for your trouser welt pocket. So we are sewing this, stopping at the same point where you stop the first one there. Stop there. So now, okay, when you're through with that, you cut from the center here. Cut from the center. Now 1 inch away from the point you stopped, 1 inch away from this point you stopped, to move in just the same way you do your welt pocket. So watch while I do this carefully. So you divert towards your left and you stop at the point, stop there, just the same way we do for our welt pocket. So you do the same thing for the second part, 1 inch away. So we cut there, then we divert towards the right, one towards the left, then this we divert towards the right. So okay, now when you're through with the cutting, we now flip this inside. So we have to flip this, taking this inside, just the same way you do for your welt pocket. So also flip this inside. So we now arrange this neatly. We're doing just the same way we do for our welt pocket. So we're taking this inside, as you can see. Now if you don't want your placket to be this wide, as you can see, the width of my placket I have here is 1.5 inch. If you don't want yours to be this wide, then you reduce the width while sewing. This is how I want mine to be. So this, you take this inside, you take this inside, as you can see, you take this inside. Alright, so now iron this neatly. So iron this neatly. So just the same way you do for your welt pocket. So you iron this neatly. Okay, as you can see, I have ironed mine neat here. So you just pin here down. So quickly pin this point down. Once you're through adjusting both back, front, iron it neatly, just the same way you do your welt pocket. So you pin this down. Okay, now when you're through with that, we now sew this point here. This point, we need to sew it down. We need to sew this down. So we sew this neatly. This is the same way they did in the Polo t-shirt I got from the boutique. Same thing they did there. So we are sewing this neatly down. Okay, so now cut off the excess, then we'll now weave this. So we'll cut off this excess. Alright, so now check what we have here. You can do better than this. I'm just showing us how to go about making a polo. I know you can do better than this. Alright, so the next thing for us to do is to join the, we could also quickly, okay, we'll make both this, remove this excess here as well. Alright, so the next thing for us to do is to join the back and the front. So let's do that now. Okay, now we want to join the back and the front together. So now We are joining this with ½ inch. Take note, ½ inch. So we join this with ½ inch. So we join this with ½ inch. We are sewing this ½ inch. For those of us that have our 5 weaving thread, we don't need to do this. Just do it straight from your 5 weaving. Okay, when you're through with this joining, you weave it. I have a weaving machine. The blade is also working, so we just weave this neatly. So you do that now. Alright, the next step I'll be showing us is how to fix our collar. Like I said, the length of this collar I have here is 16, but on stretch it will get up to 20 on stretch, but what we have here is 16, but on stretch this can expand down to 20. So now this, let's focus on our placket. Now this is a placket. At the center of this placket I'll put a notch. Take note, at the center of this placket here I'll put a notch. Now the depth of the notch is 0.25. The depth of the notch is 0.25. So as you can see, that is the notch. Now from this point you fold this, that is the center of that placket. You fold this into 2, then you move backward, making sure that these 2 shoulder points are equal, backward like this. Then you also put a notch at the back as shown. Alright, now having said that, you now open it. This is one of the placket, one part. I want to show us, remember now, let's take a look at this one I got from the boutique. I want to show, if you take a look at this point here, it's smooth. If you take a look at this point here, it's smooth here. So I want to show us how to go about this and how this collar was fixed. So now back to this. We open this. This is a good side. This is a good side. So you now turn this, making sure that the 2 notches are facing each other. As you can see, the 2 notches, as you can see the notch there. Then we now sew. Okay, now this is the collar I want to use. Now if you take a look at your collar, this is the finished part from the factory. That is a good part, and the rough edges, this is the down part that we use to fix. Remember, you're not adding anything here. Now in a situation whereby you feel the collar is too wide, you can decide to reduce it, but like I said, I want to make use of mine. So the height here is 4.5. Alright, so we are using the, so you also put a notch. You fold this into 2, fold this into 2, then you put a notch. Alright, now we take this notch. Remember, we also did a notch here. So notch to notch. So we are sewing this ½ inch notch to notch here. So we are sewing this ½ inch notch to notch. So quickly sew this down. Now we now sew one part. So we now sew one part here. Please pay attention. Alright, so we have sewed this notch to notch. So you now pick up this part here. Now this part, take note, this is one of the placket and this is a good side facing us. So you now close this together, close it to make sure the 2 notches are equal. As you can see there, the 2 notches. Then you now sew ½ inch. You sew ½ inch. Please take note that the 2 notches should be facing each other. Then we now sew ½ inch. Now when you get to the notch point, now sew. When you get to that notch point, you now bring in your collar there. You now fix. Your collar should start from the notch point. Take note, the collar should start from the notch point there. Then you close this back. Then you now sew. You'll be dragging. Remember that the neck will be bigger than the collar itself. So we are dragging the collar. So we are sewing ½ inch. We'll be dragging this. Take note. You'll be dragging this. So we sew this to the point of this notch. Okay, I'm through with the first part now. If you didn't get the first part now, this is the second collar. This is a good side. So you turn this back in a way that the wrong side will show you. Make sure the 2 notch are, as you can see, this is the 2 notch. Then we now sew ½ inch. When you get to the point of the notch, you now fix in your collar and you continue the ½ inch. Okay, so I've sewn both sides. So now at this point of this knot, we'll remove this a little. The same thing for this other part as well. So we'll now turn this to the good side. So by the time we turn this, we now have a neat edge there. Alright, so we have fixed our collar successfully. Okay, so the next thing I'll be showing us is now. Okay, now if you take a look at this t-shirt, you see this is the inside part. After fixing the collar, you see another piece of fabric in form of a bias covering it down. Now I'll show us how to do this, but I'll not be doing this in this video. I'll just show us how to go about that. Now you cut another fabric like this. The width of this fabric here is 1.5. Take note, 1.5. Now you now fold this into two. You fold this into two. Now this is the point that we sewed. So you now place this either starting from just a little inch inside the placket. You now repeat that same line that we sewed. You now repeat that same line. When you're through, you now turn this. You cut off this. You cut off this. This is the extra that we sewed, the ½ inch. I'll be reducing this to let's say 0.25 or 0.15. You'll be reducing this. You'll be reducing that to that point. Now fold this into two, as I've showed us. Then you now place this, right? You now repeat this sewing on that same point. Then you now turn this. By the time you sew, you now flip. You can flip this and you now cover. So then when you cover, you now top stitch again down. This is how to go about doing this. But in this case, I'll be weaving this neatly. Then I'll now top stitch this round. That's what I'll be doing in this case. But if you want to use this, you cut 1.5. You fold it into two. Then you reduce this ½ inch that we did. You place this. You now sew that same line that you've done. Then you now flip this to cover that part. So this is how to go about this. Then in the next video, I'll be showing us how to cut our sleeve and also fix the sleeve. Okay, so we have fixed our collar. Now, if you take a look at this again, if you take a look at this, they sewed round the placket. So look at it clearly. They sew round the placket. So now this is our placket. Now this is our placket. So now sew this, now sew this round. So when you're through with that sewing, when you're through with the sewing, now this is our armhole. So you now measure the armhole. You measure your armhole. What I have here is 11. Let me take it again. The armhole here, we have here 11 inches. So I already showed us in our previous video. If you have been following me up, I've showed us how to cut sleeve. But for the sake of this t-shirt, I'll quickly show us how to go about this. Okay, I'll quickly show us how to cut this. I already showed us how to cut. So we're going this. I'll fold my fabric into two. Alright, now have that. Now the sleeve length is alright. Okay, so this is my sleeve. Like I said, I already showed us how to cut sleeve. But again, just like we did, the difference is I'll quickly show us another thing. Like if you want this sleeve to be big, then you can leave this step I want to take. Now, just like we went in 0.2 inch deep at the front, we also do the same thing for one part of the sleeve. Take note, we're doing this deep 0. As you can see, one part. So also do this down. Take note, we are moving this 0.2 inch down. So this point that we are moving in represents the front part. So if you want to know, just put a notch there. You put a notch here. The point that has the one, if you take a look, you notice that one part is deeper, as you can see. So just put a notch. So we now join this to our top. I already showed us how to join this. You're joining this with ½ inch. Then when you're okay, before I fix the sleeve, now this is the part that we sew, this part here. So you put a notch here at this point here. Then you put this inside. You put this inside. Then what we'll now do is now top stitch. For those of us that did that 1.5 you sewed on, in this case, like I said, you weave this round. As you can see, mine is looking neat. You weave this round, then we'll now top stitch. So I'll be showing us, we'll be top stitching from the back point here, from here down. I'm using 0.2 inches top stitching. If you take a look at your t-shirt, that is what you see at the back as well. So we're top stitching this down to the placket point. Okay, so I want to join the sleeve. Now remember, take a look, this is the point where the notch is. So this point goes to the front part. Take note, this point goes to the front part. So we're joining this with ½ inch down. So we're joining this ½ inch down to the end. So you do this for the same. Take note, the notch point should be at the front part of your t-shirt. Alright, so when you're through with the joining, you weave. As you can see, I've done my weaving here. So the next thing for us to do is to join the sleeve. We are using just ½ inch all through. We're using ½ inch, so we are joining this down to the end. So you're joining this using ½ inch to the end. Okay, we're joining the t-shirt. We are the last stage of making this. Alright, when you're through with this, you weave. Then you also, there is a down part, we double fold this. This is a down part, so you double fold this. You weave the edges, then you double fold this. So let's do that now.